Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review. We're coming at you live with another episode 187. Nick, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good. Had another week of preseason. We are getting going closer to the NFL, just weeks away. Um, yeah, ready to see some NFL football. It's been a while, but we are almost there.
Yeah, we've been fiending for some football, and we're inching closer. Starting us off with the first official week of preseason. Um, and so today for the show, we're just going to have some preseason overreactions for you because that's what's going on right now in football, and so that's what we're coming at you with. Stat of the week brought to you this week by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. I thought this was interesting, Nick. We're not used to seeing this in recent years. 17 out of the 32 starting quarterbacks played week one of preseason, which was kind of surprising because in the last few years, we really haven't seen starters play really at all in the preseason. And I think people are starting to realize that September is pretty rough when your starters are very rusty. So I like to see it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm glad they're getting at least a couple drives in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a lot different than what we're used to seeing in the last couple of years, but um, hoping to knock a lot more of the rust off early on, get the fellas going. That way they're going in to a nice little groove, getting themselves situated for week one where they're going to be able to do some damage. So I don't hate it. I mean, I think it's good for the game. Makes things more exciting right at the gate. Your player of the week, Shedeur Sanders, who threw for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was a topic of discussion once again after that performance that he put on against the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people overreacting because they're saying, man, y'all keep hating on Shedeur, y'all keep sleeping on Shedeur. Like, dude, it's a preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, okay? The Carolina Panthers are like the JV of the NFL, and the preseason is where you play the practice squad players. So that was like the JV's practice squad. So let's calm down, okay? And also, there's that one play where he's scrambling back in the pocket and he is about to get sacked for like a 30-yard loss, and he just throws it up in intentional grounding. So it's like, all right, there's good and then there's bad. We'll see what happens. I think I saw another thing today as well. The official depth chart for the Cleveland Browns quarterback position, it went Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and then at spot numero cuatro was Shedeur. And once again, keep sleeping, keep hating, or whatever. It's like, I mean, hey, you got to prove yourself. He's going to get, with the way the Browns always operate, he's going to get himself a nice opportunity. But people are still reacting pretty early to the Shedeur Sanders situation, so we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
I mean, for Shedeur, in my opinion, look, he can only control what he can control. Like, he was on the field with the practice squad. He had a good game, so good for him. I do think people saying he should be the starting quarterback is obviously pretty crazy right now, but also I think he's earned himself some more reps with the ones in practice, I think. I mean, you kind of have to see what you got. He showed good awareness, good good just decision making, even though it was against a bad defense. It's not like he can control the defense being good or bad. Like, he put up good numbers. I think you got to kind of use him a little bit. But yeah, I will say I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. But the other two quarterbacks, I completely understand putting before him right now. With Joe Flacco being the starter for the Browns, I think that's the direction they should go in.
I think where I would be putting him at was maybe that 2 position, just because I do think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. I think we've seen the best of Kenny Pickett. I mean, I don't think he's going to...
Which was nothing.
Kenny Pickett right now might be better than Shedeur, but I would think Shedeur has a higher ceiling than Kenny Pickett. And then, I mean, Joe Flacco, even though he's 50 years old or whatever, he's usually, he'll have these random 3-week stretches where he's the greatest quarterback to ever grace the earth and touch a football. So, I mean, he's pretty pretty decent for
Yeah.
being kind of making his way as a journeyman there at the end of his career. I don't think Shador has done anything to earn that starting position, but I do think 4 is pretty low for him on that quarterback depth chart.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got, 3 topics just to talk about some overreactions from preseason today. Steelers number 1. Number 2 is the Cincinnati Bengals played their starters, and obviously offense looked good like it has been. The topic that of discussion is the fact that they started their defensive starters and went against the Eagles twos and threes and got shredded.
Yeah,
They lost. They put up 34 points on the Bengals. All of that was not on the Bengals starters, of course, but Tanner McKee looked really good going up against the Bengals' first string defense. It appears to look that the Bengals have not fixed anything on defense, and that Joe Burrow and the offense are going to have to put up at least 50 points a game to have a chance.
I mean, this is looking like the regular old Bengals. I think we talked about it a month ago or so, just with everything that's going on in Cincinnati.
Hmm.
Offense looks good. That Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase connection's looking, just like anyone, just like you think it would. They're out there shredding defenses, but it's not enough because their defense can't do anything to make a stop. And I mean, we saw it out there against the Eagles. They had their number one defense out there, and they were getting shredded. And then we talked about it in the offseason as well with who they drafted and who they were acquired in free agent signing. They did not do anything to shore up the defense. They were just strictly going offense, offense,
And
offense.
they're not
Uh,
even signing Hendrickson, who is their
right.
best defensive player. They are at a standstill with him. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So they don't even have their best defensive guy.
And then obviously Sam Hubbard as well. That was another big one that they had
Yep.
lost.
Yep.
And they
The
just did
only
not
two
do
guys that can
anything to
play.
fill spots or try and shore up the defense at all.
They
Get the
hired
offense
a new
situated, and then that's it.
They hired a new defensive coordinator, but I don't think the coordinator was as much of the problem as the guys on the field. So I think, it was a good step in the right direction, but you thought they would maybe spend this free agency trying to fix the defense since the offense clearly just didn't need to be fixed. Like they had one of the best offenses last season. Anytime you have Joe Burrow, you put yourself in a really good position to succeed. During the season, Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner. Chase Brown out of the backfield is a really good back right now. They've got an okay offensive line. They re-signed T. Higgins. You just really don't need any help right now if you're them on offense. But what you really need is defense. I just don't think they fixed it one bit. And I think this preseason game, I don't think it's really an overreaction. If I'm a Bengals fan, I'd be very worried about our defense. Also, I would say I've never seen a team act like going to the Super Bowl in 2021 was like the greatest thing ever. They keep hanging on to that. Like, let's face it, the last couple of years, y'all have not been a very good football team. And
That was
Joe
supposed to
Burrow
be a
is
building
great.
block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that was supposed to be like okay, because I believe if I'm remembering the history correctly, that was Joe Burrow's first full season.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
2020 was his first year, but he got injured,
He
and then
got it.
21 it was him and Jamar's first full season together,
Yeah.
and so them going into the Super Bowl was like okay, this new era of players. We've got two new threats in Cincinnati and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who we know are going to be around for a while. Maybe this is going to be a new competing franchise in the AFC that's going to go up against that the Titan of the Patrick Mahomes Kansas City Chiefs, and then they just have not been good, have not lived up to the potential since then. Um, I think they've slowly regressed a little bit
Yeah.
since then. Um, Obviously, it's hard to manipulate, going to the Super Bowl every single year. But, I mean, it's been 4 years, and
Yeah.
they haven't done anything since then. They didn't even win that Super Bowl, mind you.
Yep.
But it was supposed to be a building block to move them a step forward into the future because in our lifetime, Cincinnati's always been trash. But
Yep.
they drafted really well. It looked like things were looking up, and then it was just right back to the regular old Bengals.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, but not looking great right now. Okay, final topic. Just a little overreaction. The Patriots, who were favored in, I think, only 3 games last season, are now favored in 11 of their games out of 17 this upcoming season. Their first preseason game, they put 48 on Washington. Obviously, your starters are not playing the whole time. Their starters are not playing the whole time. It's just preseason. But something does seem to be looking a lot better in New England than it did last season with Mike Vrabel as the new head coach. I think he just instilled a new culture and a new confidence in that team. You've got Josh McDaniels back at the helm on offense. Travion Henderson, their draft pick, took a kickoff return back 100 yards to the house. It just looks like they got something at least better than what they've had cooking in New England since Tom Brady left. And um, maybe this is the year that they've kind of figured it out. Not that they're going to win their division, but hopefully be vying for a wild card spot at least.
People are expecting some big things from Drake May. Um, it's going to be on him this next season.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. It seems like they've got a lot of really, really young talent. Obviously, Henderson, whom they drafted, is supposed to come in and bring a charge into that offense.
Yeah.
They usually are pretty consistent on defense. Sort of a similar-ish situation to Pittsburgh, but not quite the same, just to where, you're usually going to get a pretty solid defense out of them, but it's just kind of up to the offense. I agree with what you said. They will by no means win their division, but they might at least be somewhat competitive in the fact that they're, winning more games than they did in years past.
Absolutely.
Just because, since Tom Brady and the Belichick era, it's just been I don't even
steady
know. Not even a steady downslope. They just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So they've been looking for that franchise quarterback and somebody to build on ever since then. Never got him. Maybe Drake May's the guy. Maybe not. We'll have to see. But, good to see New England back and competitive again.
Yep.
I think Jerry opened his mouth again. Was that today or was that yesterday? He's just always chatting it up.
Always talking.
It got to the point where even what is that? Oh man, what's it called? I don't even remember. But to where people are starting to feel bad for Cowboys fans.
Yes.
Just because Jerry's running this team into the ground and people are seeing it. Just how we have no hope for the future.
No.
Is long story short what we're getting at. Jerry Jones is killing this franchise. We're never going to be good. Football season's coming, but the Cowboys will go a nice 9.
We're just excited to see some good games.
Yeah, not from the Cowboys.
Not from the Cowboys.
So don't tune in when we're playing. But anyways, here's like to end our shows on Under Review. Brought to you a quote from Denzel Washington, and it's about the Cowboys and about Jerry more importantly. And he said, "All money ain't good money, Jerry."
Ain't that the truth? You can't just hold on to all of the money. You got to pay players. Mm-hmm. And Jerry doesn't seem to want to do that. But, yeah, we're sad Cowboys fans, and we will remain so until we win a Super Bowl. So thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.